Three, two, one. Hey everybody and welcome. This is Ken with the Lions T Soccer blog. Tonight is June 4th, 2016, and this is my very first video update to the blog. The MLS team is in a break for Copa America, and the NWSL team is in a mini break for some international matches. And I thought it would be cool at this time to take a look and see where all three of the teams under the Orlando City umbrella are for 2016 and what the projections are like for the rest of the year. And furthermore, I will be wearing three hats while doing it. This is my OCB hat. The second incarnation of Orlando City in USL has had a rough start in their inaugural season. In their first four matches, they went 0-3-1, and they seemed torn between whether they wanted to develop players for the MLS side or whether they wanted to compete as a separate entity on their own. They played a lot of minutes for guys that were sent down from the first team for single games here and there in those first few matches of the season. Their first win came on April 22nd at Highmark Stadium with Tyler Turner scoring 2 goals. And in the last 7 matches, OCB has done a lot better. They've gone 4-2-1, showing really that they're starting to get on pretty good form. The club is now sitting in 9th place in the East Division of the USL standings with 14 points on a 4-5-2 record. OCB is the only Orlando City team that is in action this weekend. They are trying for a third straight win. Tomorrow night, Sunday night, the 5th of June, they will be playing at Titan Soccer Complex, which is about 100 miles behind me and to my left in Melbourne, Florida. They'll be playing against Louisville City, and that match will be at 7:30 p.m. So if you have a chance, go out there, cheer them on. That's your only chance to see Orlando City play live this weekend. Now, it's time for me to change hats. Now I've got my Orlando Pride hat on. The NWSL team is off to a good start in their inaugural season. After 7 matches, the team is 4-3-0 and sits in 4th place on the NWSL table. The top 4 teams will make the playoffs at the end of the NWSL season, and as I said before, the team is in a mini break for international play as the U.S. women's national team faces Japan, and several other international teams are also in action. The last match for the Pride was a 2-0 loss at Kansas City, but that was played without both Alex Morgan and Ashlyn Harris, who were away at U.S. women's national team camp. Now tomorrow, Sunday, the 5th of June, I will be out at the Rogue Pub on Curry Ford Road in Orlando with several other members of the Crown Supporters Group, and we will be watching the U.S. women's national team in their match against Japan. The match starts at 12:30 p.m., so come on by and say hello. We don't bite unless you want us to. The Pride will be back in action as a team on Saturday, June 11th at Rhino Stadium in Rochester, New York to take on the Western New York Flash. Fun fact, while Western New York is not based in Rochester, they do play their home matches at the same stadium as the Rochester Rhinos from USL. So it's a place that some Orlando City fans who have traveled and followed the USL teams in years past will be familiar with. The Pride have 2 more matches on the current road trip that they're on. That match on June 11th and again on June 18th at the Washington Spirit before they return to Camping World Stadium for their next home match, which will be against, any guesses, any guesses, any guesses? 3rd time so far they've played them this year, the Houston Dash. Woohoo! That will be on Thursday, the 23rd of June. All right, time for my last hat change. This is my Orlando City OCSC hat. The MLS season is off to a better start than 2015, but all of us, including yours truly, we're all acting like entitled fans. A few weeks ago, when we hit the quarter point of the season, I posted a review, and I found as I was doing my analysis, a little bit to my surprise, that Orlando City was 2 points ahead, and much more importantly, 8 goals ahead of where they were after 9 matches last season. So they're scoring a lot more, and they're actually further ahead in points. Now, one of the reasons for that is that many of those really frustrating early season losses last year have now been converted into draws this year. So instead of coming out of those matches with no points, we're coming out with 1 point. I know 1 point's not as good as 3, but it's better than none. And also, another nice change from last year to this year is that instead of losing massive matches in stoppage time, as we seemed to do last year, Orlando City is getting results in stoppage time this year. You all remember that last match at NYCFC with that desperation header at the end? It wasn't desperation. It was brilliant. Kevin Molino. Golly. Okay, that guy has more talent in his little finger than I have everywhere. That was a fantastic match and a great result. Yes, I know it was frustrating. But here are some improvements that I have noticed, either when watching games live or after going back and watching matches again, which I usually do when I'm trying to write up my match reviews. The first thing that I have noticed is that we've had a lot more mature play from some of the young players, particularly Rafa Ramos. He is playing with a lot more poise. Last year, it used to be that a player from the other team would do something, it would upset him, and he would just completely lose his cool and draw a yellow, sometimes draw a red. Now, in this season, I've noticed that he is just taking those fouls a lot better, getting up, and a lot more times the other player from the other team is drawing cards or getting the fouls called on them, which is great. Also, Carlos Rivas, I have noticed that he is doing a much better job of seeing the field. So when he's going and bringing the ball up, he's seeing where people are, and he's making much better passes going forward. It's also an incredible change this year to see the difference that a healthy Kevin Molino makes. He really does change matches. He has developed into a fantastic scoring threat in MLS, and he is always active around the ball. Those of us who watched Orlando City back in USL days, we remember how amazing Kevin Molino was and how we thought he was going to be a great MLS star when they finally came to MLS. It is nice to see that finally starting to come to fruition. Kyle Larin, he is also continuing to grow in his confidence. He has started to take a real leadership role both in scoring and in setting up plays. He will try to shoot the ball, but a lot of times he will also pass the ball off to a teammate that may be in a better position to try to score. And so he's really showing kind of a lot of good leadership in that regard. Julio Baptista, I'm sorry, I always try to read that name as Spanish. I know is Portuguese, so I've heard a lot of people say Julio, so I'm going to say Julio Baptista. He's been a great acquisition, and he already has multiple assists, and he has a goal on the season. That first goal that we had in the NYCFC match last weekend, and he's already set up a PK goal here at home against New England. When he went right down at the beginning of the match and drew a penalty that Kaká slotted home. Also, at goalkeeper, we all love Tally Hall. I thought Tally Hall was fantastic last year. I was a little bit skeptical when we had to change goalkeeper. I understood why. When you have the same knee injury 2 years in a row, that's a little bit of a red flag. So I know why the team wanted to go in a different direction, but I just wasn't sure what we were going to get in Joe Bendick. But he really has become Super Joe. He's been amazing in goal, has an incredible number of saves, and he just really has helped to shore up a defensive line that still keeps trying to find itself, I think, and still is trying to get settled in terms of having the steady play that we're looking for. And speaking of the defense, another player that I've really started to enjoy watching is Servando Carrasco. And I think this guy is so much fun to watch because he literally throws himself at the ball fearlessly in defense time after time, match after match. I mean, you'll go and you'll watch him and he just comes out of nowhere and flies across in front of somebody trying to take a shot and clears a ball out or blocks or prevents an attempt to be able to shoot on goal. So it's really good to see a guy hustling like that on the pitch, game in and game out. Now, along with the fact that we've done a little bit better, as I said, we are all kind of entitled, and so there are a few questions and disappointments on the season, at least from my point of view. Your mileage may vary. I'm a bit surprised at the amount of time that it's taking Antonio Nocerino to adjust to MLS and his new role on the team. I know he's playing in a slightly different position than he played when he was in Europe, and perhaps it's adjusting to playing on turf. Perhaps it's the different schedule that he's on in the U.S. Perhaps it's just what he's being asked to do within the team. But it seems from the outside a bit frustrating to watch him try to adjust. And I want to say that unlike some fans, I see the quality of what he's trying to do, because I can look and I can see how well he sees the field and how well he sees the rest of his teammates, and when he wants to send a ball up to somebody. But a lot of times it seems like he's just not on the same communication link with the other player. And so he may send a ball up when a guy is getting ready to turn and come back, or he may put a ball out to the left when the guy is angled to the right, things of that nature. So it's just a bit off, and I think that's what makes it even more frustrating, is because you can see what he's trying to do, see that he knows what would be great for the team, but it just is a little bit, it's not quite there yet. Another thing that has been incredibly frustrating for me as a fan is the inconsistent level of play that I've seen from the team. There have been stretches of matches where they have just looked lethargic or sometimes even complacent. And in those times, you see them give up easy goals to unmarked attackers. When they put their mind to defending, they can defend really well. When they put their mind to attacking, Orlando City has an incredibly potent attack. But it seems like there are times that they almost seem to be happy to sit in their own defensive end, just letting the other team bounce the ball around and take shot after shot after shot after shot after shot after shot on the goal. And as a fan, that's really, really frustrating. Also, one thing, injuries. Last year, I think we felt the injuries a lot more because of the fact that it was a brand new team and everybody was trying to adjust, and just as soon as you felt like you started to get some consistency, somebody would get injured, he would be out, you'd have to bring a new guy in and train him all over again. Kaká has been out a number of matches this year with injuries, and now more recently Darwin Sarin and Rafael Ramos have missed some matches with injuries. So I hope that this does not continue to be a problem with the team the way it was last year. And then, let's see, pro referee. Wait, what? Oh. Okay, all right. Sorry. I've been told I cannot say anything more about pro referee or I'll get fined. Leave it at that. And by the way, did anybody watch the Copa America match from Orlando today? Did you notice that in the first minute of that match, there was a yellow card issued. So maybe it's not just pro referee. Maybe it's not just Orlando City. Maybe there is something about Camping World Stadium that makes that place a place that just is a magnet for cards coming out of pockets magically from the referees. I don't know. Somebody go investigate that. See what's up with that. Anyway, the MLS side is in the Copa America break now. Their next match as a club will be on June 15th at Southern Oak Stadium in Jacksonville, where they will take on NASL side Jacksonville Armada in U.S. Open Cup play. And the next MLS match will be on June 18th at 7:30 p.m. as OCSC welcomes in the San Jose Earthquakes. And the Earthquakes, as you may remember, opened their brand new stadium last year, and their claim to fame is that they have the world's largest outdoor bar at their stadium. So, next season, great road trip idea, go out to San Jose, go enjoy that great big bar that they have. Anyway, that's going to about wrap it up this time. I hope to see some of you out at matches and tailgates and viewing parties in the next few weeks. I'm always at the Orlando City home matches and at most of the viewing parties for the MLS team. I'm also at all of the Pride home matches, and I attend all of the viewing parties with the Crown Supporters Group that I am a proud member of. Drop me an email, look for me on Facebook, or tweet me at Lions Teeth Blog. That's all one word. To let me know what you'd like to see in future video updates, or if you think I should just stick to writing. You're entitled to that opinion. You'll be wrong, but you're entitled to that opinion. Go City, vamos Orlando. I'll see you later.